Dawn of the Dead is generally a good film, but there are definitely areas where I think there's a lot of room for improvement. This was released in 1978. It's directed and written by Romero, and we have a cast including Ken Foree, Gaylen Ross, David Emge, and Scott Reiniger, and I apologise if I've mispronounced any of those names. And I was really looking forward to this one for two reasons. One, I'm slowly getting into zombie horror. As always, if you have any recommendations, please feel free to share. And two, for some reason, I love films set in shopping malls. I think it's just because there are a lot of different opportunities for, well, anything can happen in a shopping mall. There are a lot of people there are a lot of different stores, and having a zombie film set in a shopping mall made me really quite excited. It took about half an hour to get to that point. A little bit of time setting up, absolutely fine, but it did not need that long, and I was kind of bored for about the first third of the film. And then once the narrative got underway, I do think they made good use of the shopping mall. I think that did work quite well. The setting was really good. The characters didn't seem that scared, though, and this is one of the issues I have with the film. The characters didn't really have a lot of fear. They didn't seem scared for the most part. And if the characters aren't scared, why should I, as the viewer, be scared? It was so hard to buy into the narrative because I didn't believe the characters, not the zombies, but the other characters, were in that situation. So it didn't feel like a scary film. The zombies themselves are good. I liked the scenes with the zombies. Everything else was kind of mundane. Not a lot happened outside of the zombies, and there are quite a few stretches of time without the zombies. So the narrative has a lot of room for improvement. I think the characters, the non-zombie characters, needed to seem more scared for me as a viewer to feel scared. Otherwise, not a lot's happening, and it's not as if the zombies themselves are that scary. They're fun, they're not that scary, but if the characters showed that fear more, then I would feel the characters' emotions more. So it's not very effective as a film, but I did like the appearance of the zombies and how they moved, how they carried themselves. Those performances were very good. I liked the shopping mall setting. Once we got there, I think they made a really good use of the space. The music is really good as well. So if there was more fear or urgency, it would have been a better experience. But obviously that's not what was delivered. So I don't think Dawn of the Dead is a particularly good film. That being said, it has 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and that's across 134,000 reviews and ratings, and a very impressive Metascore of 71. So maybe my expectations are just higher than other people's. I will admit that of all of the genres, horror is really the only one where I'm very fussy. I'm so easy to please with pretty much every other genre, but aside from cheesy comedy horrors that aren't meant to be scary or taken too seriously, I am quite difficult to please. But I do think the points that I've made here are valid. I do think the characters weren't scared enough. I don't think the pacing of the film was very good. So the zombie aspect, absolutely fine. Dawn of the Dead isn't a great film, definitely room for improvement, but there were enough aspects in it for me to enjoy that I came away from it feeling reasonably pleased with the experience. The good bits are good, the bad bits are bad. Dawn of the Dead is not a great film. IMDb seems to disagree with me. So if you're curious, check it out. I'd recommend it anyway, because I feel like it's one of those films that, especially if you're a horror fan, is worth seeing at some point. Come to your own conclusion. Maybe you'll enjoy it more than I did, but I definitely think the film had a lot of room for improvement.